So that was basically the end of the show, and when the show ended, everyone just sort of filed out in a neat fashion. I kind of stayed in my seat for a little while, because I knew getting in, it was a really slow process of everyone getting through those halls. So I figured that I'd just wait for more people to leave, and I get to see more too, and a lot of people from the audience actually got to go like onto the stage and meet some of the musicians, which was pretty cool. But on the balcony, we weren't allowed to go down there. But we did get to walk across through the middle of the main floor, which was cool. I kind of stood there and watched for a little while. Everything was happening. Everything was kind of wrapping up, though. There wasn't a whole lot to see, but you just walked right out a door, which took you right back out onto the street. And then I started heading towards my bike, and I saw more of the young 13, 14-year-old girls that I had seen in the Hello Deli. Like they were pretty much when I was getting ready for the show. They were just kind of scattered all over the streets, and I don't know what they were waiting for, but I figured it was the guests. I thought that maybe there was, as I said, some young musical artist or something that was on the show that people really wanted to see, or young girls really wanted to see, as they went from their limo into the building. But there wasn't anything like that on the show that I saw. But I had heard that the Jonas Brothers were here, and that's what all the girls were for, or at least one of the Jonas Brothers was there. But they weren't on the show at all, and I still couldn't figure out what all these girls were standing around for. So I thought I'd wait there and see. I figured, there's a big crowd of people, probably something exciting is going to happen. And I figured that I also get to see maybe David Letterman leaving the studio on the street. That might be cool. So I waited around that area where the entrance to the studio is. And it was, in fact, one of the Jonas Brothers that came. To be honest with you, I really don't know basically anything about the Jonas Brothers. I know that they exist, and they're musicians, and that's about it. Just not part of the music that I listen to. And I can't even tell you, I couldn't tell you, recognize one of their songs if I heard it. I probably heard their songs before, but I've never identified one of their songs ever. And so seeing the Jonas Brothers really didn't mean a whole lot to me, but I decided I'd wait anyways and see what happened. So this black Lincoln Navigator pulled up, and all the girls were cheering really loudly and stuff like that. And well, that wasn't too much of a surprise, because every car that went past that was anything special, like if it was a Lincoln Town car or anything like that didn't look like a taxi, everyone cheered because they thought it might be whoever they were waiting for. But the black Lincoln Navigator ended up being the one that was carrying the Jonas Brother, and it actually turned out there was only one Jonas Brother that was there. And it turns out that the Late Show has a live concert series that they do, or not the Late Show, but CBS. It's called Live on Letterman, and they use the Ed Sullivan Theatre just to host big fan concerts in the studio. And I don't think they televise it. They think they stream it online. But they use the facilities of David Letterman's show for that. So I was standing beside the gate, and I saw this guy come out, and everyone was really cheering. And I didn't really recognize him because I didn't know who I was looking for. But it was just this guy that I guess was a famous singer. Didn't really know, and so he sort of stood around, and he was outside for a little while. I was surprised he didn't go straight into the theater. Kind of just stood around, and maybe he was posing for pictures, or he was talking to someone, or I don't know really know what he was doing. But then all of a sudden he walked over to the big metal railing where all the girls were standing beside, and there's a big railing that went all along the side of 53rd Street, and I was just standing right beside the railing that was right beside the exit of the theater. And I figured, it was far, far away from where the car is parked. I didn't think, I figured, there was no one standing there at all, and I figured that I was probably standing in a good spot as a non-Jonas Brothers fan, and I'd be able to see what was going on, and not really get in people's way. So he walked out, and he walked all the way along the railing, and he was hugging people, and he was signing autographs, and the girls were just totally going wild, and they were just screaming, and the girls that were standing right beside me, right in the railing where I wasn't going, they were begging the security guard, "Oh, can you please let me in? Joe Jonas is my inspiration to life. I need to see him. I need him to sign this." And they were just begging the security guards, who just had no part of it. And one of the girls asked, there's a door right on the other side of the fence where I was standing. There's a little door, and one of the girls said, is he gonna walk in through that door? And the security guard said, absolutely. And she said, really? And he said, no. And the two security guards had a good laugh at that. But it was just really entertaining seeing the girls just absolutely going crazy for this guy. And as I was standing there, he kind of walked back over towards his car, and then he started walking towards the railing where I was standing, and I couldn't believe it. And as soon as he did that, of course, all the people that were standing behind me, like I was standing right at the railing because when I stood there, there was no one there, and then all of a sudden, everyone was pushing towards me, and I had all these people that were around my back, and I couldn't get back, and I thought, well, why am I standing beside the railing to see this guy that I don't even know who he is? So I tried to get out, but I couldn't really. I was too packed in there. So I sure enough just stood there with my camera, and I filmed this guy, Joe Jonas, who he ended up being, just walking right past me, and he was standing about a foot away from me when he went past, and he was hugging everyone, and when he got to me, I kind of just looked at him. I didn't do anything, and he just went right past me. I didn't have anything for him to sign or anything, and I didn't want to hug him or anything like that, so, but it was, I mean, really, really entertaining hearing those girls, getting so excited about this guy. And, I mean, I showed my face right after he walked past. I just couldn't believe. It was just so entertaining seeing this happen. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life, I don't think. So after that, he went inside, and all the crowd sort of dissipated. And, well, I guess a lot of them were waiting again until he came out of the theater at the end of the show. And I definitely wasn't going to wait around for that. So I came home. I took 53rd Street all the way to the Hudson River, and then I took the bike path that I love so much on the Hudson River all the way home. A really cool experience seeing the Late Show with David Letterman. Probably I'm probably never going to view the show the same way I did before. Having been there and seen behind the scenes how everything goes, it's really going to be a whole different experience. Even like the studio, like when I first walked in, I couldn't believe how small it looked. Like everything was just right there. Like you could reach out and grab everything. Like there wasn't. I thought it was this huge theater where the guests were way far back, and everything was pushed in its own little corner, and there was tons of room on the stage. But really, what you see is what you get. That's all it is, and it's all really close together. And like the backdrop of New York, like behind the gate where David walks through, there's that skyline, like with all the lit up bridges and buildings and stuff behind them. It actually is three-dimensional, but it's probably only like 3 or 4 feet in depth, and everything's just built in a certain way for like where the cameras are, that it looks like it's quite a big, huge like diorama of New York City, where it's really just like a small little backdrop that they have that's going there. So anyways, that's pretty much what I did on day 6 of traveling and exploring New York City. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my travels and my adventures. So stay tuned for the rest of the videos that I'm going to post from my the remaining 2 days in my trip to New York City. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. So thanks for watching.